You gotta have strategy to win in this world. So this video might hurt your feelings, but it's gonna help you in the long run if you listen to what I'm saying. The reason why a lot of guys hate women that belong to those two groups is for the same reason that women hate a lot of guys that belong to those groups. Hate older guys, hate broke guys, hate single dads. The same reason, because those groups play in the mud. You notice that you constantly see videos, you constantly see posts, you constantly see people talking on the street about people who are members of those groups. Single moms, single dads, older women, broke guys, all of that. You see a woman talking about her baby daddy and how broke he is and how he doesn't care about the kids and he's a deadbeat. Well, then you see a guy talking about bitter baby mama. She won't let me see my kids. She's on a mission to try to make me look like a bad person. This is playing in the mud. It's just like a political campaign. You see two guys going back and forth with each other, constantly talking about each person being a bad person, and then they keep getting worse and worse and worse with it. So by the time you get ready to cast your vote, you hate both of them, right? And you're just voting for the person you hate the least. That's how it works. Mudslinging, playing in the dirt. A lot of times you don't realize that it's like they say. You point one finger at somebody else, you got three pointing back at you, right? It's the same thing. That's why you see so much of it. Because it's a constant barrage of negativity coming from both sides. So I know y'all probably didn't want to hear that, but I'm keeping it real with you. This is what you got to realize about life. We as human beings want to get information that confirms what we already believe and validates our personal experiences. So say you have a negative experience with a broke dude. You want to hear me talk about how bad broke men are. And if I won't say it, you'll go find somebody who will. If you have a bad experience with a single mom, then you want to hear me talk about how bad single moms are. And if I won't say it, you're going to go find somebody who will. You want to have your experiences validated. This is what men and women do. Therefore, certain people are always going to hear a lot of negative. Now, the reason why you might think that it's just older women or it's just single mothers is because that's what you're sensitive to. So when you hear something about deadbeat dad or you hear something about guys or whatever, you feel like that's true. So that's not really bothering you. Now, what you also got to remember, a lot of times you contribute to your own narrative. I'm solution oriented, so I'm going to start telling you how to solve the problem. You got to remember, a lot of times you contribute to your own narrative. And the way you contribute to the narrative is by going out there and saying things that contribute to the condition, to the belief about the condition, but may not necessarily contribute to the belief about the cause. So here's what I mean. You may be an older woman and you might be out there going, there are no good men. Why? I can't find anybody because there are no good men. Now you're assuming that everybody you deal with is going to believe your causation as well as your condition. They may believe your condition that you've admitted to, but they don't believe the causation. All right. You might say that because that there's no good men out there and that's why you can't find somebody. They might say, no, you're not worthy of a good man. You're a bad woman, because they're looking at themselves and say, I'm a good man. My homie right here next to me is a good man. My homie over here is a good man. So there are good men out here as far as I see it. And you not being able to find one is an indictment on you. You've proven to me that you're not capable of finding anybody. Now I'm going to break it down to you just like this. If I came up to you and told you, yo, I can't get a job because of racism. I can't get a job because people are treating me bad based on who I am and what I look like. Now, you may believe that I can't get a job. You may believe that I'm unemployed, sure. But what you may not believe is that it's because of race. You may not believe that I'm in a situation where I'm being treated unfairly. You may not believe it. So basically what I've done is I've confirmed a particular condition where when you don't believe the cause. You see what I'm saying? So now I put myself in a position as far as you're concerned where you believe the negative, but you may not necessarily believe the reason for it. A lot of times what you do is you feed into a lot of negative stereotypes just by simply trying to tell your story in your way. A lot of times you might try to be a victim of a situation and people don't believe your victimhood. So you end up in a situation where people now think you can't get a man, but they don't believe that it's because that there are no good men out there. You might talk about how your baby daddy is trash. You might talk about how your baby daddy is just the worst person and you got with him and you thought he was cool, but he turned out to be bad. Well, you saying that is fine, but what you just told people is that your baby daddy is trash. The cause may not be something that people would agree with. They might say, see, you was over here messing with Chad and Tyrone, and now you want me to take care of their kid. This becomes the narrative that you spit out. You got to understand, like, you need to see things from more people's perspective than just your own. When you sit here and talk about how every guy you ever dealt with was trash, and how every guy you ever dealt with used you, they were a narcissist, they were a loser and all that. I know you feel like you tried to choose good guys and they turned on you or whatever, but what you're telling other people is, because you got to remember, the older you are, the more these people are looking at the situation like this. Hey, I was a good guy that women passed over. I am a good guy that women have passed over for years. So they're going to believe that because that's the story that confirms what their personal experiences and validates their personal experiences. You get what I'm saying? So no matter what you say, when you go, I slept with all these different people, I dealt with all these different people over the years, and all of them treated me wrong because they're bad guys, they're going to say, no, you chose bad guys. That's what you did. Now you're 45 years old and you're past your reproductive prime and now you're trying to pick a nice guy. I don't care what you say you did. I don't care what story you try to tell. The one that validates my experiences as a nice guy who's been passed over and over again is that that's what you chose to do. You chose Chad and Tyrone. Now you want me to take care of their babies. You let Tom, James, and Bill jump up and down inside of you for years and years and years. Now you want me to put a ring on it. This is where the negativity comes from. It's the same way when you might see a guy with multiple kids by multiple women, and he may be sitting here telling you, man, I got with these women, I tried to settle down with them, but they all turned out to be bad people, and they all turned out to be liars, and they took the kids and left. You're probably not going to believe that story because you're going to be like, yo, you're the common denominator, and that may not be your experience. That may not validate your experiences, so you don't want to believe the story. Now, some of y'all won't even feel like this is a good comparison because you can't see yourself in anyone else's situation. That's your problem. That's why you're struggling. But if you start thinking about it from other people's perspective, then you'll start seeing what I'm talking about. Look at it from their perspective and look at somebody telling you that same story on the opposite side. That will help you in this situation because I'm solution oriented. It's not about, oh, I'm going to sit over here and blame this and blame that. I'm helping you actually solve your problem. That's what I do. I'm a strategist. All right? Because you got to remember, I've been dealing with this for a longer period of time than you probably have because I've been a member of a malign group my entire life. I was born a member of a malign group. Now, that's not to say that things you may hear about black males may not be true because some of it, I don't know, maybe it is. Some of the stuff you hear is false, maybe, for some people and some people not. Some of the stuff is true for some people, some of the stuff is false for some people, right? Just depending on the situation. But I've been a member of a malign group my entire life. Some of y'all just became members of malign groups. You just turned 30 and now you considered in the older woman group. And now you're like, dang, I'm older now? What? And this is what you think of older women? You just had a baby and now you're part of the single mother group. So some of y'all just became members of malign groups. Now, if you've been a member of a malign group your entire life, you're going to understand that stereotypes are always going to be there. And there are always going to be negative stereotypes about the group, period. So you have to learn to use those stereotypes to your own advantage. Why? Because that's all you really got. Otherwise, you just stand around mad all the time, angry, pissed off, trying to explain your situation to people who will never really understand. It's not possible for them to because they're not a part of your group. And their experiences are going to be different from yours. And they're going to look for information that validates the experiences that they have, which you're not going to be able to provide. Simple as that. So what do? I know that I'm a member of a maligned group. So I'm not going to sit up here and try to explain stuff to you. Like I would never come up to you and go, I couldn't get a job because of this, that, and the other. I would never come up to you like I know that I'm a member of a maligned group. So I'm not going to show up 15 minutes late for a job interview. I'm not going to show up 15, 20 minutes late for a meeting. I know I can't do that because I'm a member of a maligned group. So the minute I show up late, you guys are going to be like, oh, look, see, member of a maligned group. I know that. I know that I have to look at it. I can't. Now, there's some things that you're not going to be able to change. There's some stereotypes that are going to fit you. But the ones that you can change are the ones that don't have to fit you. That's what you work on. And by blowing up those stereotypes, you're going to get a lot more credit. As a member of a maligned group that is known for showing up late, by simply not showing up late and showing up 15 minutes early, a lot of people who believe those stereotypes are going to give me a whole bunch of credit. Because I can form a complete sentence and I can speak somewhat articulately, I'm going to get credit for that because I'm a member of a maligned group who is said to not be able to think logically or speak with any level of intelligence whatsoever. So just simply based on that, I'm going to get some credit. I'm going to get some credit just simply for making a living and being able to support myself and the people around me. Simply for that, I'm going to get some credit because I'm a member of a maligned group. So what I do is I try to explode the stereotypes that I don't have to fit. I'm wearing a backwards hat right now. This is also something that is a stereotype for the group that I'm a part of. But I like to wear certain hats. I like to wear certain clothes. I like to do that. So I'm going to do that because that's what I want to do. But the things that I don't have to be a part of and the negative stereotypes that I don't have to be a part of, I choose not to participate. And by not participating, that gives me more value and gives me more opportunities. It actually helps me because people expect one thing and they get something totally different. You can do the same. If you are a member of a maligned group, you don't have to wallow in the fact that you are a member of that group. You don't have to sit there and feed into every negative stereotype. If you know that your maligned group is known for being bitter, be positive. Say some positive stuff. Have something positive to say. If you know that people are going to already be reading from the script where you're going to say men are trash and everything's someone else's fault and you're going to blame a whole bunch of other people, how about you do something different? How about you don't do that? How about you go on a date and you be totally upbeat and positive? Oh, no, my past relationships, some of them weren't good. I mean, we were both at fault in different situations. I take responsibility for my actions. What? That doesn't go along with the stereotype. Maybe you're different. Gives you more value. See what I'm saying? Sometimes you can use the stereotypes to your personal advantage. Here's the things I think about you. Here's the things I believe about you. And here's how you're different. Here's how sometimes you can even use the stereotypes to be better. Hey, you might think I'm fast because I'm a member of this group. Okay. Well, then if it's something that requires speed, I can get an opportunity there. I'm not going to sit there and pout about it and cry about it. I'm going to use it to my advantage. You can do the same. Once you realize that you're a member of them, and this goes farther than even the dating situation in the dating game or any of that. This goes farther than that. This goes into life. If you know that you're a member of a maligned group, then if you're a member of a group that's notorious for being rude to another group, or be nice to them. When you see these people, be nice. Show a certain level of respect. How hard is that? Be polite. Be understanding in the situation. Do something different than what people would expect from you. You might be a member of a group that's known for entitlement and being able to just get away with certain things and doing people a certain way. Don't do it. Because even your own people might feel like you're that way. Even your own people might feel like you're lazy. Even your own people might feel like you're not going to be a contributing member of society. Even your own people might feel like you're a criminal. Even your own people may feel all the negative things about you that the rest of the world does. That doesn't mean you have to feed into it. you can actually go in the opposite way and you'll get far more credit for it. If you're a member of a group that is known for not being able to dance and you can dance, you are going to get a lot more credit for being able to dance. If you're a member of a group that's known for not being able to play basketball and you can play basketball, you are going to get a lot more credit for being able to play basketball. Simple as that. There are certain things you just can't help in this world. You're not going to change all the stereotypes. You're not going to change what people think about you because you're a member of a particular group. It's not going to happen. But what you can do is you can take ownership of your part. You can take ownership of what you do, and you can also put yourself in other people's shoes and say, hey, wait a minute. If I was a member of that group, what would I think about me? What would my personal experiences be like? How would I feel about things? And when you start understanding that, that's going to make it easier for you to succeed in all game, whether it's relationships, business, social, whatever the situation is. It's like a great quarterback. A great quarterback makes great passes because he understands what the receiver is going through. He puts himself in that receiver's shoes and he says, yeah, here's where I should be able to throw the ball and you catch it, but maybe there's certain extenuating circumstances that wouldn't allow you to do that. So if I can understand that maybe you want the ball a little higher this time, maybe you want it a little lower, maybe you want it, in a different spot than normally, maybe you want to run underneath it, whatever the case may be, I'm going to be able to provide that because I understand what you're going through. Understanding what other people are going through is the biggest thing in having game. If you can't understand others, then you can't succeed. If you're playing chess, you got to play the man, not necessarily the board. If you're selling something to somebody, you got to understand their needs, not necessarily yours. If you can't do that, you're going to continue to struggle in every aspect of life. So if you want to figure out how to get people to stop looking at you a certain way and get them to look at you in a positive light, then that's going to be the biggest thing. Figuring out where they're coming from. All right, hopefully I was able to help you out. It's your man, Chaz Ellis. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go to the ChazEllisProject.com. Check out Cold Hearted Game, where I teach you different elements of game, how to move in a certain way to where you're always ahead of it and not behind. It's your man, Chaz Ellis. Peace.